and I would like to know from you if you have explored Microsoft OneNote. So have you guys gone through the training I shared with you on OneNote?
Laptop only. Here it is minimum.
Speak up, na?
Sir, we have to reduce from the laptop only.
Yeah, I reduced it. Sir, can you repeat the question, sir?
So question is, have you gone through the OneNote training?
Yes, sir, they have.
So if you have gone through the Microsoft OneNote training, can any one of you tell me the features of OneNote, what you can do and how you can use OneNote for delivery efficiency? Anyone? Anyone can.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Sir, can you please repeat the questions again?
So the question is, if any of you guys have gone through the Microsoft OneNote training, point number one, can any one of you tell me the features of OneNote? And point number two, how these features can be used for delivery efficiency?
Now clear, I think.
Yes, sir, nobody has done the training.
Sir, I think nobody has done the training, I think.
Say loud enough, they should not. They have all sorts of complaints for everything, but when it comes to work, nobody wants to do anything.
Hello?
Yeah, so I
Hello?
understood. Yeah, I am getting it. So the point is like OneNote is a tool which can help you systematize your routines. Maybe these are the college routines or your daily routines which may not be related to college or any.
फायदा नहीं है सीधा बोल दो नहीं करा शायद कुछ शक्ल से दिख रहा है ना कि नहीं किया
So anyway, so it's shared in the presentations, that link. You can go through the link again if anyone is interested in learning. And so I will have a quick recap what I told you last week so that you can be once again motivated to go through the training. So last week we discussed that we can use Microsoft OneNote for getting things done. So I had shared this tutorial with you, so which will train you how to use Microsoft OneNote. Apart from this, there are many other tools in the market, but this is the most efficient and mostly accessible, easily available tool.
Hello?
Yeah, Ashish. Yes, Ashish, please tell me.
Yes, sir. So I thought your voice is not coming, so that's why I repeated.
Okay. So can you put your computer on mute so that I can clearly explain? Or if you can somehow reduce the noise which is coming to me back. Okay. So what I was saying is last time I had exposed you through the small tutorial of OneNote, and I had explained you how we can, plug the loopholes in our strategies. So in our priority list on which action is required. So I had given you a link which gives you the complete tutorial on OneNote. This is for your benefit, guys, because it is not related to this regular course. This is beyond course. So it is highly advisable you go through this introductory training to OneNote. Once you are exposed to OneNote, then and only then you can appreciate how you can use it for various purposes. So OneNote is not just a software, it is a memo in the Windows itself. It can be used as a to-do list in Windows, and it can be whatever you do on your computer, it can be accessed via Microsoft features on your mobile and on various handheld gadgets, so wherever you want it to be. So it will be a 24/7 your PDA. You can say PDA means personal digital assistant, and it will help you streamline your timetables, schedules, wherever you go, whatever you do. So I will strongly advise you to please go through this training. It will help you a lot in future. So anyway, so this is what we had discussed last week. So this was our last week's agenda. So we had put some light on how we can identify in the shortcomings in our schedules, how we can plug the loopholes, and we had tried to understand the difference between effectiveness and efficiency, and we have tried to prioritize the one over the other, and how we can achieve getting things done with 100% efficiency. So we have to lay emphasis on the effectiveness and the efficiency as parameters. So today what we will discuss is we will today discuss in our session 3 as these things. So we will discuss on operational discipline. We will try to understand how discipline in office helps us in getting things done in a better way, how we have to manage the stress in office, I mean to say in workplace or in your academics. And third thing which will throw light upon is resource management. So this is a topic advanced to you, but yes, it will come to your life at one point when you will be at a very responsible position and you may be asked to manage resources in your team, or you may be asked to recruit resources for your organization or for your group. So these things, how these things help us to achieve delivery efficiency, so that will be the focusing area when these 3 points are discussed today. Any previous questions, any previous doubts so far? If you have any, you can ask me now. Any questions?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
So, in previous lecture, we would like to know about the loopholes. So, we got the question in tutorial, but it's not clear. So, what's the loophole? Please clarify it.
So loopholes are the flaws in your actionable items to-do list. So because somehow when you make a to-do list which tells you these are the things you have to act upon, but you forget to review. When you forget to review, you miss certain items. When you miss certain items to be done, then these emanate out, these protrude out as loopholes in your strategy. So going to the same example we have been using since the lecture 1, that let's say we are going to some target, some place via car, and here what you need to do is regularly check whether your car fuel tank is having sufficient fuel or not. If you miss to review this thing at regular intervals, you will end up in no fuel, and uh, you will be stagnant at a place on the road. So you have to strategize the things in such a way you regularly review certain things so that the loopholes are taken care of. Make sense?
Clear, sir?
Yeah. Okay, so moving ahead. So today the point number 1 is operational discipline. Now, what is operational discipline? It means complying with a set of well thought out and well defined processes and consistently executing them correctly. So this is a very heavy line when we read it through, because when we say a set of well thought out and well defined processes make the term operational discipline, No, what do you mean by well thought out and well defined processes? In simple terms, these are nothing but rules and regulations to carry out a task in an organization. Why we require rules and regulations in an organization? Because rules make us work in a disciplined manner. When we work in a disciplined manner, we work for the efficiency and correctness of the things. So when we work for efficiency and correctness of the thing, this means that we are effective in our organization. So that is why discipline in conducting the operations, or in other words, operational discipline, it is a critical step. So here discipline is the term which needs more emphasis, because discipline is a critical step to carry out the operations in a more effective and efficient manner. So do all of you agree that we require some discipline in carrying out any task we do, whether in office, workplace, home, or academics? What is your opinion about it? Do we really require operational discipline in all these parameters of our life? So what are your inputs to it? Can anybody stand up and explain? Okay, so I don't know whether you understand it or not. Do you understand the meaning of operational discipline at least, which I explained to you right now?
Yes or no? Yes, sir.
So if you understand the meaning of operational discipline, then do you agree with this, that we require operational discipline in every aspect of life? Someone is saying no. Who is that? Okay. So if you agree with this, I would request you to see this video to have more understanding. I will paste this in the screen in the chat window. Request you to please play this.
Okay, sir, playing.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
Sir,
Ashish.
the link is not working.
So I think WDY, there are last three digits. WDY, you can just type in.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. So guys, you are done with the video. So done with the video,
Completed,
guys?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I would like to know from you what you have learned from this video. So what that guy is saying towards operational discipline?
So in that video, I perceive that they are talking about operational discipline characteristic, and after that there is self-assessment summary, and after that they went into the result of that. In that summary, what are the results they have found? And these are my perceivance, what I have perceived from the video, but it's not much more clear. I would prefer to go further in private mode also.
Okay, so I understand that you have tried to understand the video quite well, so that is good. So this is a poster presentation, and the presenter is from a company who has strong belief in operational excellence or operational discipline. So he has presented a poster in which he is saying that they have identified 14 parameters on which any operational discipline in the organization is assessed. Now, these 14 parameters are tied to a quality tool, which is a Six Sigma tool. So this means that the operational discipline has been linked with various quality management tools, typically Six Sigma, and stuff related to that, because like there are various other things like ISO, and then organization to organization, domain to domain, there are various quality parameters which are on the basis of which the tools are developed. Now he has mapped those 14 identified parameters. One among them was the leadership. Now he says that we have mapped these parameters onto this tool, and then we use this tool to assess whether these parameters have been respected and sincerely executed in the organization. How they assess this? They give a set of questionnaires to the people inside the company, or sometimes to the client as well, and based on the answers given by the people in and out of the company, they assess and they come to know whether operational discipline is respected to receive operational excellence. Now then there was a question which was asked, like, people, if they don't give the sincere and honest feedback, what will you do? He said that it is the responsibility of the people who are monitoring and assessing whether these parameters are strictly followed or not, that people must not be harassed because of the negative feedback. So they have taken reasonable steps to avoid the sabotage of employees, so that they should not lose their jobs, to avoid conflicts and stuff like that. So this means that every company aspires to receive a sincere feedback from their stakeholders, definitely the employees, and this feedback is very much critical in assessing whether the company is following the quality standards, parallelly safeguarding their own existence in the organization. So from this video, we can conclude, in any organization, operational discipline holds a key and significant value and significance. Make sense? Any question?
Any questions? No, sir.
Okay, great. So what does operational discipline consist of? So operational discipline consists of three things. One is do the right thing. So what are the right things when we speak of operational discipline? So the right thing are the things which are efficient and effective. What we mean by efficient means you are using all the best ways to do the task, and effective means these things which we are doing efficiently, they are helpful in achieving the company's goals or the project goals. So this means anything which is right is efficient and effective. Second thing is do the right way. So the right way here is linked to the efficiency in specific context. Second thing is, for example, let's say I'm writing a software. I have written the code, but I don't know how to tell this to my counterpart or how to tell it to my client. So this means that I have although written the code in the best possible way, but I forgot to document it. So this means I am effective in achieving my goals, but I'm not efficient because I have not documented it. And the best way to deliver this piece of code is proper coding, means efficiently doing, and proper documenting. Documenting means I'm choosing the right way and I'm documenting it. So if I'm doing the right thing the right way, I'm respecting operational discipline, because these first two points are helpful in achieving operational discipline. And third thing, whatever I'm doing the right thing the right way means whatever I'm doing efficiently and effectively, if I'm doing it every time, then it makes sense. If I've done for the first time, next time I say, oh, I know it, so let's apply shortcuts, then operational discipline will not be respected. So whatever we practice the right thing in the right manner, it should be iterated every time. Then and only then the culture of operational discipline can be imbibed in any organization. So if we respect these three simple requirements, we can achieve efficiency and effectiveness in every parameter, in every realm of our life. So again, coming to the details, how do we do the right thing? So we can do the right thing by trying to map the right thing to necessary core pillars or core values. Like for example, if I'm doing the right thing, so this means that I have the right knowledge to do the right thing. So that's what it means, level of knowledge. Understand not just what you do, but why you do. You should question yourself, whatever I'm doing, is it the right or not? If any answer comes from your mind and heart, so this means that you are able to justify why and how the thing you are doing is right and in what aspects it is right. Secondly, if you are seeking the greater knowledge about the systems, processes, and hazards in and around your workplace, so this means you are trying to gain more and more knowledge in order to do the right things. So this means whenever you are doing anything, you should ask yourself, is it a right thing? If it is yes, how it is a right thing, and why it is a right thing, and what I can do to do this thing in a more perfect and effective manner. So this what, how, and why, if you are getting the answers to this, so this means you are doing right things and you have thirst to acquire more knowledge in your company. Second things, the right way. So treat your workplace and your role with respect. So whatever you are doing and whatever the level of responsibility you are given to, you should respect that. You should love that. If you do that, then you should recognize the seriousness of what you do and your role as a part of something bigger. So if you respect your position, if you love your work, if you respect your responsibilities, then and only then you will be motivated to finish that work. And when you are motivated to finish that work efficiently and effectively, you will always look for better responsibilities. So always apply the authorized procedures and expect the same from others. Now, what do you mean by authorized procedures in this case? Let's have an example. So let's say you have finished the work and you want to intimate to your boss that I am done with this and work, and I have done this in the respected timelines and stuff like that, and whatever the piece of software I coded, it is also well documented. You want to give him a proper status report. So what is the right procedure to give him the status report is send him an email. Let's suppose you send this status by your personal mail. So if you're sending this by your personal, let's say Gmail account or Hotmail account, and you send him to his mail, which is also his private mail. So then are you following the authorized procedures? The answer will be no, because in any office organization, personal emailing is not allowed. In some companies like LG or Samsung, if you use personal emails, you will receive warnings, warning letters if you do it first of all. If you again repeat it for the second time, another warning letter. If you do it for the third time, you will be terminated. So this is what we mean by the right way. Although you are doing the right thing, but if you are not doing the right way, you will face execution. Third thing is, if you think of a better way, you should follow the authorized processes to review and improve the procedures. Now, what do you mean by authorized processes? So here, authorized processes means, again giving an example, let's say again you are working on a piece of software, and to run that software you have two options. Either you can use the licensed tool, or there are some freewares available on google.com. You simply can download that freeware and start working. So, but the company doesn't allow you to use those freewares. So you will be penalized of using these tools over the internet. If that is the case, again, you are not using the authorized processes. So in that case, again, you will be penalized. So you have to take care of what tools to use, what processes to adopt, which are acceptable by the company, and you will use those things to review and improve the procedures which are already existing in the company. Third thing is questioning attitude. Questioning attitude also defines whether you are doing the things right way or not. You should constantly ask yourself what could go wrong if you are doing anything of higher significance, and check for out of the ordinary. Learn to anticipate the potential problems. So how will you anticipate the potential problems? Again, let's say you are writing something, you're working on some project, and let's say some client asks you for some information which is sensitive, but this company is a client for your organization for quite so many years. So there is proper coordination, proper understanding between the company and the client. And based on this soft question, so the client asks you of some information, the client very well, but this information is sensitive and it requires certain level of approvals. So but you can assume the things, yeah, they are okay, and I can pass this piece of information to the client, and it is against your quality parameters which are mapped to the operational discipline as a process in your organization. Now if you do this, since the company and your client, they are having good bonding, good understanding, good business, everything is good, and based on this goodies, you share this piece of sensitive information which in future proves to be fatal. So if that is the case, then you are not doing the things the right way. Because every company, maybe the vendor or the client, they are here for business, and if there are such type of spurious things introduced in the business, it will impact both the client and the vendor, and the deal may get impacted. So the takeaway is, ask yourself what could go wrong whenever you are doing the things. Don't always assume things are okay. You should verify. In this context, you should verify what are the legal and business agreements in place whenever you are passing any piece of information to your client. And every time you have to do this: level of knowledge, formality, and questioning attitude. Third thing is forceful watch, team backup. So this means that if you are a project manager, if you are a product leader, you should always back up your co-workers by looking out for what they have missed and expect the same in return. So this means that, again, if you are writing, going to this example, so if you're writing some code for a software or hardware, there should be regular reviews of the product, of the project. So peer-to-peer code reviews, or peer to manager code reviews, or peer to group the product reviews in terms of documentation and timelines. All those things should be executed and done effectively. Have the courage to care. You should not always apply the shortcuts. You should always follow the procedures, the right paths, and you should have the courage to care. Care means correcting your mistakes, correcting others' mistakes, intervening even when it makes you uncomfortable. You should always intervene for the right things, even if you're uncomfortable in doing that. And if you see an issue, you should own it. You should simply not dodge away from the issues. If you're dodging away from the issues, if you're dodging away from your weaknesses in the company, then it will actually make you more weak. And when you become more weak, your performance will be impacted, and hence GTD, getting things done in an effective and efficient manner, will be impacted. So you should always have a forceful watch, and you should back up your team. And last thing is the integrity. So integrity means, first thing, you should be reliable as a personality. You should not always be in the air when you are explaining the things and reasoning upon the comments. You should complete every task in the right way, and your boss and your team should have confidence in that. And when you do things in the right way, it should be every time, even if no one is watching. That is very important, because nowadays we see that people people tend to misuse the things. People tend to bypass the important procedures when no one is watching you. So when you do this integrity parameter gets impacted, which is very important from operational discipline point of view, and hence GTD. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Do you agree with what we've discussed?
No, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay, great.
No question.
Okay, fine. So next thing is self-reinforcing pillars of operational discipline. Now, these are what? These are the pillars of operational discipline which get reinforced by themselves. How? Let's see this diagram. Now, if you have the level of knowledge, means if you have the adequate knowledge to perform a task, so level of knowledge allows out of the ordinary conditions. So when you have the level of knowledge, you will have the questioning attitude by itself, because you are at a confident position where you can ask for more, where you can introspect for better. So questioning attitude will come by itself, and questioning attitude supports the process improvement, because when you question, process improvement automatically comes. Workarounds will be diminished. You will not apply workarounds in any task, any responsibility you execute. This will lead to formality. So formality means it ensures backup is professional and productive. And formality means that you are serious about your responsibilities. When you are serious about your responsibilities, you will always provide critics to the work done by you and by your team. When it happens, then you reach this state, which is the forceful watch team backup. So this means that the first pillar, the knowledge, if you have the adequate knowledge, you will eventually by yourself reach this stage, which we call as team backup. So team backup drives the procedural compliance. When you provide critics, when you provide feedback to the work done within the team and by the team, then you will adhere to formality. When you adhere to formality, you will finally adhere to the integrity within the team. And integrity means you can be relied upon to support your team. So this means either you start from the integrity, this is a soft skill, or you have the relevant level of knowledge, which is a technical skill, which varies from domain to domain. You will actually be a gem within the team, Who is a responsible person? Because who is reliable, who follows the procedure and understands its seriousness, understands the seriousness of the assignments assigned to him, formality. You will have a questionable attitude, means questioning attitude, which will increase the level of the knowledge which is required to be incorporated within yourself for the organization. So, in nutshell, these are the reinforcing pillars of operational discipline. That is integrity, level of knowledge, questioning attitude, formality, and forceful watch team backup. And all these things are interconnected and interwoven within each other. And these are interdependent, as I told, and they cannot be achieved by adhering only to one or the some of the fundamentals. When you achieve one, others will automatically come because they are interdependent. Any questions for this diagram? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Processes and procedure with robust work culture will never lead to operational discipline and hence operational excellence. Now, this is another point to operational discipline. So, if any company has processes and procedures in place, what I try to say is they will never lead to operational discipline. Now, my question to you is you should think why and answer me. Why processes and procedures with robust work culture will never lead to operational discipline? Can anybody answer? Can anybody answer this point, this question? Why processes and procedures will never lead to operational discipline?
Sorry, sir, but I'm not agree with this line. I think if there is process and procedure, then operational discipline can be achieved.
How can you be so sure?
Why not, sir? So operational discipline means what? The set of rules and regulation. And when we have the procedure and the process, then we are following the rules and regulation. So how one can say that operational discipline cannot be achieved?
You're right. Okay. So any other guys, any other student who can comment on this point? Okay. So
Any other?
yeah, tell me.
No, sir. I'm asking to the students actually.
Okay. Yeah. So in order to understand this point, let's have a case study. So leadership activities and operational discipline about Deepwater Horizon. So let's have a background of this thing first. On April 20, 2010, there was an explosion in BP's, this British Petroleum's drilling rig, Deepwater Horizon, in the Gulf of Mexico, and was the largest marine oil spill in the history of the petroleum industry. So in the sea, where this company BP was doing the drilling tasks, there was an explosion. Now you guys understand that whenever there is an explosion, it is disastrous to life, to the business, to everything actually, to the existence. And here the consequence was the explosion killed 11 platform workers, injured several others, and released approximately 4.9 million barrels of crude oil. So this was the loss. And so this is just a diagram to tell that top 10 offshore oil spills in the world were means since 1970 to 2010. So this Deepwater Horizon was the largest oil spill and it killed 11 people. Now let's see further. Most of the people don't know that a group of four BP means British Petroleum and Transocean VIPs were on board at that time, conducting a safety focused management visibility tour when the explosion occurred. So the point is, these four guys who are responsible for operational excellence, operational discipline, and the stuff like that, they were on board and they were monitoring whether each and every task was happening as per the procedures and processes of the company. Now, what happens? Let's see. That VIP team lands on the rig and attends the safety orientation at 3 p.m. And the VIPs proceed with the safety tour. One VIP inspects the safety harness, another looks for slip trip hazards. Means all these guys are looking for all the safety aspects of which are followed on the rig. Tour continues to driller's control room. So one of the guys went to the driller's control room where one VIP notices confusion. He asks the rig manager to stay behind and help out. So one fellow found out some issue in the control room, in driller's control room, and he asked the subsequent manager to be there and sort out the issue. Then VIP follows up with the rig manager and asks, everything all right up on the rig floor there? So have you got everything sorted out? The rig manager responds with thumbs up, everything is fine, you need not to worry, at 6 p.m. Then VIPs conduct light-hearted meeting with personnel in the gallery. So there was some meeting. They all discuss the safety goals, emphasizing hand safety and dropped object campaigns at 7 p.m. and after 8 p.m. this blast occurs. Now, one of you told that if the procedures and processes are there in company and followed, then operational discipline can be achieved. Now my question to you guys is, then why did the blast occur? Why did the explosion occur? Because these guys are on board, they are monitoring each and everything they are scrutinizing, but still this explosion occurred. Can any one of you think what could have been the reason? Guys, over to you. Can anyone think why this devastation happened? None of you know the reason? You cannot anticipate the reasoning behind this?
No answer, sir.
Okay, no issues. So let's proceed. From 2008 to 2010, British Petroleum implemented an operations management system they call as OMS to ensure that the processes and the procedures necessary to ensure safe and environment compliant performance were in place. The OMS required that management ensure operating procedures are in place, and that is why this VIP visit was there on the site. Operators are competent to perform work and leaders are active and visible. We would all agree that the activities or processes that the VIPs participated in were the right ones, yet the result was not what was intended. So this point says that VIPs were there on the site to check out whether the policies and procedures are properly executed, and they never anticipated this result. So effective procedures and processes with regard to this thing, there were safety meetings, there were leadership visibility tours, there were shared lessons learned, which all these guys did on the board. Culture of the operational discipline. There is no culture of operational discipline. Everyone is forced to do the work. So this means if you have procedures and processes, but you don't have the culture of operational discipline, means this multiplied by this is equal to operational excellence. So activity driven behavior without the intended results. So if you have this thing as 0, this guy will be having no effect. So effective processes and procedures will have no effect if you don't have the culture of operational discipline. Let's see further to it. So we will now view the several video clips of the VIPs testifying to their activities and behavior on that fateful day. While watching, keep in mind the following. They were following the processes and procedures that were expected of them. We would all agree that the activities they participated in were all activities in which we would expect good leaders to participate. So this means they were doing everything right. All of these men thought they were doing the right and good thing on that day, but none of them woke up that morning anticipating this disaster will happen. Now, we'll see this in a clip. So I searched a lot in finding this, and we'll go through the Google. But before we see that, consider these questions. So why did these leaders go on to the leadership visit? This is the first question you should keep in mind. What was their goal? How did they prepare for the visit? And did they demonstrate the fundamentals of operational discipline? So keep these questions in mind while we go through this clip. Ashish, could you please play this clip? I'm pasting it here. So, if you are done with this, so I would like to ask from you in this inquiry what type of questions are being asked from these VIPs and what you take out from this discussion. So, what are your findings from this discussion? So, in other words, I would like to ask you these questions. So, what was the purpose of his safety tour? Why did he want to discuss the drop objects? Why did he inspect the harnesses? And were the fundamentals of operational discipline exercised?
Anyone?
Okay, in nutshell, can you answer like what they were discussing in this clipping and why they were discussing in this clipping?
Investigation.
Okay, can you please play the slide number 14? Next slide.
Yes, sir. Sir, good morning, sir.
Yeah,
There was an investigation is happening in that discussion about uh, the happened situation,
right.
and there are investigations why it's happened, and they are telling that we scheduling all the operation process, and I was understand that much in that clip.
Okay, so now what we have to understand from this clipping is these answers to these four questions. Why did he want to, what was the purpose of the safety tour? Why did he want to discuss the dropped objects? Why did he inspect harnesses? What are the fundamentals of operational discipline exercised? Ashish, please play this video, slide number 14 for the students. I'm also playing your panel.
Sure. Sure, sure.
So, I think you have gone through this. Now, can you answer the questions on slide number 13, please? What was the purpose of the safety tour? I think these answers are evident in the video itself. All of you should be able to answer. Okay, so the purpose of the safety tour was to understand whether the policies or procedures are followed. So this gentleman explained it very evidently. Why did he want to discuss the dropped objects? Because he wants to make sure that the dropped objects have no physical impact or no health damages or the physical damages to either the crew or to the board. Why did he inspect the harnesses? Because there were no tags on the harnesses. And were the fundamentals of operational discipline exercised? Can any one of you tell me? Hello? So were the fundamentals of operational discipline exercised? Any answers?
Anyone? No answer, sir.
So I think you guys are not in sync with me. So what I was trying to convey you is I have shown you a case study. I've given you the videos. You are not focusing on the videos because answers are there in the video. Do you want this video to be seen again? It's a 1 minute 14 seconds video.
You can say this to sir. Actually, sir, they are not understanding the language of that video. Like some.
So can we play this video again for them at least? It's a one
Yeah,
minute
sure,
video.
sir.
Yeah.
I'm playing the video.
Okay. So again, so he's telling why he went, and again, he's telling that what were the shortcomings while he was on the board and when he inspected the things. So this means that it's quite evident that fundamentals of operational discipline were not exercised, although they are enforced to be exercised. So this was the problem. Why the explosion take place? So this is another set of questionnaire. So questions to consider while viewing this clip on the next slide. So this is while the one of the VIPs was in the driller's room, and what happened in the driller's room. Let's have a quick look in the next video. So this discussion says,
Yes, sir.
okay. So
Hello.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now guys, can you answer the questions in the slide 15? So this conversation is pretty clear, and I am hopeful that you should have understood everything from that conversation. Guys, can you answer these 4 questions?
Anyone? No answer, sir.
So have you understood the context, guys? At least have you understood the problem? What is happening around? So what's happening around? At least you can sense this. So what is this case study about?
ये बातचीत कौन कर रहा है सर?
So what is this case study about? Can anyone answer this? See guys, this subject is pretty theoretical, but this is really practical. If we understand the theory properly, then and only then we can put the theory into practice. Now this case study is about how they put this theory, the theory of operational discipline, into practice and what mistakes they did. So if you really understand the mistakes, what they did, you can learn from their mistakes while you are working for some company, and then you can really be 100% cautious that you should not repeat those mistakes. So this is a real case study where people were negligent about the operational discipline aspects. As I showed you previously that the operational discipline policies and procedures were enforced, but there was no operational discipline culture. There was no culture in the company at that place, so that these policies and procedures are automatically followed. That is why this explosion took place. So when this guy was inquired by that inquiry committee, so he was asked why he was in the driller's shack, because there was a problems. Was he there to surface the problems? Yes, he was there to surface the problems. So, and he found that people are confused. Did he ask the right questions? He simply asked, he asked some of the guys to remain in the driller's shack without asking much of the questions. Now the question is, were the fundamentals of operational discipline exercised? The answer is no, because there is no culture. People were simply confused what to do, what not to do. So that is why this blast took place. So the case study is about let us know why, in spite of having the policies and procedures in place, such type of accidents happen. Now listen to this slide, this clipping after this slide. So first read these questions. How do these leaders deal with the employees that don't follow the procedures? Because now we know that there were certain employees who have not followed the procedures. Now what do these leaders do in during when they have to deal with such employees? Second thing is, how do they make sure that their employees have adequate knowledge? How do they interact with them? You will get the answer of this question in this next slide, which is a video clipping. What the pillars of operational discipline exercise? Now you have to answer these 3 questions. So see this next slide properly. So guys, are you able to answer those questions in the previous slide? So at least can you think of the third question's answer? Were the pillars of operational excellence exercised?
Sir,
Yeah.
actually they check the people, they can't check the each and every one people, and they went to the single person to check the operation discipline purpose. And
Right.
in this third question, they didn't follow the all rules of the, only say followed only one chain of the command,
Right.
like they followed the knowledge and like this.
So this means they relied on the immediate reportees and immediate managers to get the status of whether the command is followed at the grassroots level or not. So, but since there was no culture of the operational discipline in the company, so even the managers tend to bypass the policies and procedures, and that is how there was a miss in the enforcement of the policies and procedures in the British Petroleum's this rig, and that is why the reason this blast took place, this disaster took place. No, now, so do you agree with this outcome or the takeaway from this case study that if we don't have a culture of operational discipline, then sudden experiences are bound to come, bound to happen? Yes, no. Okay, great. So now this means that in any company, if all these five pieces of information are there, then and they are imbibed into the company as a culture, then these negative or sudden experiences will not occur.
यार अपने
And
बाहर क्यों नहीं जाते हो बात करनी है तो जिसको बातचीत करनी है किस बात है
next thing is like complex operating environments require a different approach to leadership. So what is a different approach? Like in complex operations, situational inventories are impossible. You cannot create situational inventories. We cannot create comprehensive rules to cover any situation. So because this is a complicated situation, you are drilling oil from a sea. So you cannot have, strict rules, means they are very comprehensive rules to cover any situation. And pillars of operational discipline create a framework for thinking about the right behaviors. So this framework is used for helping leaders understand how they demonstrate the pillars of operational discipline in their daily activities, right? So the second takeaway from this case study is we cannot have comprehensive set of rules for each and every aspect when we are dealing with a very complicated situation, and then it's up to our maturity how effectively we can put in the culture of operational discipline in such type of complicated situations, right? So any questions you want to ask from this case study?
No question, sir.
So the last thing which I want to put in is what steps we need to create a culture of operational discipline, because we now know that in this case study the culture of operational discipline was missing. That is why this explosion took place. Now, what are the four things which we need to do so that the culture of operational discipline can be put in place in such complicated environments? First of all, we have to align the leadership on the pillars. So the pillars are the ones we discussed previously, and then we have to approach the leadership for the implementation of those pillars. Then we have to create the case for change. So you have, when anyone feels discomfort while doing any tasks, then that is how the need for change comes into picture. So we have to create that sense of discomfort so that we can bring in the change and we can implement the pillars of the operational excellence. Then we have to internalize the pillars. So how we can internalize the pillars? We can have one-on-one conversations between the leaders and the employees, which are using the right wrong framework to discuss the behaviors, and leader interactions on the shop floor. So this means that when we want to internalize the pillars, internalize means implementing things at the grassroots level. So we can internalize those pillars by having one-on-one conversations with the people, with the leaders at the grassroots level. And then final thing is embed in the management system processes, new hire selection, orientation and training, incident investigation, and performance management. So we have to select the people who can be adapted to the work culture of the operational excellence. Whatever the employees who are already on board, we have to train them so that they can easily adapt to the operational excellence procedures. Then if there is any incident happening, we have to investigate those incidents, why they happened, and then we have to uh, correct our operational discipline procedures. And performance management, how the employees behave during exigencies, how they handle the difficult situations. So these are the things based on which we can manage the performance of the employees and then appraise them accordingly. So when we implemented these four things in any company, we can create a culture of operational discipline. And The bottom line is creating a culture of operational discipline must start at the very top of the organization. It is a top-down implementation approach when we speak of the operational discipline. Any questions so far?
No questions? No questions, sir.
Okay, so I would request that you please go through these clippings at your homes once again so that you can really understand what is operational discipline. And even though policies of the operational discipline are implemented in any company, but still such explosions, such incidents occur because of the missing of operational discipline culture in any company. So this case study very well justifies that although you have the policies, you have the procedures, but still those odds occur because there is no culture in such companies of implementing the operational discipline. So go through these slides once again, go through the case study once again, and try to understand, uh, you know, uh, uh, the peculiarities and the culture of the companies where operational discipline is enforced and where operational discipline is not enforced. And definitely, based on this case study, there will be some questions in your exam as well. So I strongly advise you to go through the slides once again. So by this, if you have no further questions, I would like to close today's discussion. Any questions?
किसी के पास कोई सवाल? हाँ?
Okay, go through the case studies once again. Go through these clippings and please come up with the questions in the next session because this is very
Excuse me,
important.
sir.
Yeah,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah.
Sir, you have only talked about the work culture, but there can be any other thing which can affect the operation discipline.
What is that?
Work culture, I'm saying that only work culture is responsible for the operational discipline disruption. Only work culture is responsible for that, and that operational discipline is not achieved
Because
or operational
yes, because work
excellence.
culture pertains to mapping of the theories and practices into reality. If you are not putting it in your daily practice, then there is no scope of procedures and policies because that is just a theory, right? If you have any other things, you can come up, we can have a discussion. But please go through these slides once again at your home.
No questions, sir. More.
Okay then guys, have a nice weekend and thanks for listening to my lectures.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Okay.
the session.
Yeah.
बेटा